Hey everyone, welcome. It is Wendy Cooper, and we're live, super, super live. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to catch you up on a few things that's going on in my world before I bring the Dr. Barrow, Vanessa Barrow, the hottest foot doctor in Houston. Now, that's a title, not earned by many. Okay, so what's up with me? Here's a couple of things. I went to see Endgame. I saw Endgame, Avengers Endgame, and it was so good. It was really good. I mean, I'm a freak for Marvel movies, and it was really good. So you have to see it. I can't say anything more about that because I'll give everything away. But believe me, there's either nothing more to come or there is so much more to come. And we know that that's probably the case. The other thing is that, let's see. I don't really think I have too much news about anything. They just tell you that when you do Facebook Live that you kind of have to do like this thing where you talk to your audience first and you get people chiming in and following, but that usually happens like halfway through the show. So that's probably not going to happen yet. And I'm super excited about, my husband always says I do this too much, so I'll try not to do that. Okay, so anyway, so my husband, I want to give you a little bit of lead up before I introduce this gorgeous woman. I met Vanessa on just a phone call, so I don't really know her. I've never met her physically, but I can tell you she's really, really, really beautiful. And she's really, really, really smart. And she likes to wear high heels to work. And she's a foot doctor. And she has so many secrets about why our feet are so important, especially when it comes to our foot and our ankle. And as the foundation for, we all know that it's a foundation for our bodies, but wait until you hear what Vanessa has to say about it. I should probably be more professional and just call her Dr. Barrow, but I think she's okay with Vanessa. But it's, Soul Aesthetics is her company. You can go to soulaestheticstx.com. I am going to welcome her to the show in just a second, but just know that it is Houston's premier destination for the most innovative regenerative medicine and biologic technology for foot and ankle. I mean, and Houston is a big place, and this lady, she has done it. So I am now, hold on. It takes me a minute because I get a little, okay. What? Share your screen. You need to be installed. I'm not going to share my screen. I want to just bring you up to the broadcast. Here you come. 1, 2, 3. And here we are.
Hi.
Hey, Vanessa.
Hi, how are you?
I am so good. And welcome to the Wendy Cooper Show, Speaking of Age, where we talk about everything.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I love that you wore those colors. They
Thank you.
They match my colors here. I want to bring all your information up, so I'm gonna show that right there, and that's pretty good. Okay, now I don't get distracted. I'm a little kooky, and I'm love drunk over that movie. So, welcome to the show. And why don't you give everybody just a little recap of who you are, how the heck did you become a foot doctor, and just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, Dr. Vanessa Barrow, originally from Houston, and went to undergrad at University of Michigan, go Blue. Went to podiatry school in Chicago, and I became a foot doctor because I was interested in sports medicine, actually. A lot of my athletes had foot and ankle injuries. But after years of practicing, I decided I wanted to do something different, bring something different here to Houston and focus more on the regenerative medicine side and the aesthetic medicine. Regenerative medicine is the future of medicine. And so that's something that you don't see a lot in foot and ankle. You may see it in hip, spine, shoulder, but you don't see it a lot in foot and ankle, especially here in Houston. And what I'm...
Whoa. especially here in Houston. Is there a reason for that? I mean, regenerative medicine. First, explain to everyone.
I would say in the foot and
Oh,
ankle.
for foot and ankle.
Right. I mean, we have the medical, and that's interesting. Yes, we have the medical center here, largest medical center in the nation. But there are still some strides in certain areas that I feel like, we could make in the specialty of foot and ankle. I mean, we're amazing in some of the more chronic diseases, in cancer and, breast cancer research and children's medicine. But, there are still some strides that can be made. And I feel like that I haven't seen the advances in regenerative medicine, specifically in the foot and ankle, but it's used elsewhere.
So can you explain to everybody when you say regenerative medicine? I mean, maybe there's some people that really don't understand what entails.
Right. So regenerative medicine is basically getting the body to heal itself. Okay. You're looking at, you've probably heard of stem cell injections or
absolutely.
stem cell therapy. Exactly. Or you've heard of placental injections, amniotic cell, all these things. There are a lot of buzzwords. People are familiar with them, but they may not really know what they are or what they do. Also PRP or platelet-rich plasma, where they draw your blood, spin it down, inject the plasma back into you. So the whole idea is getting the body to heal itself without having to use harmful steroids or harmful, neuro toxins or chemotherapy drugs. So this is more of the future of medicine. When it comes to like steroids, you've heard of getting a steroid injection. So steroid basically stops the inflammation cycle. Okay. That's why when you get a steroid shot, a lot of times it feels better because we blocked pain, we stopped inflammation, but really inflammation tells the body that something's going on and starts a process to heal. So
if you get a steroid shot, because I've heard both ways, they make you feel better, but they're really the worst thing you can do.
You know what? If we can avoid steroids, oral steroids or steroid injections, then that's what we want to do. Absolutely. Again, that's steroids do stop inflammation, but inflammation is what tells the body that something's wrong so that it can heal.
Oh, that's like, okay. So when you're taking a leave, what is it? Is it Advil or is it a leave?
That's an anti-inflammatory. It's still kind of the same lines, and it stops inflammation, and which in turn makes it, makes the pain go away and it feels better. So again, that is also something that we're trying to steer away from. You don't want patients taking, popping anti-inflammatories all the time. I mean, any time that you can, not have to take medication, we'd want to do that.
One time I had FAI. You know what FAI is? The in my hip I had the pincher nerve inside of my joint of my hip, so it was scraping against. I forget what FAI stands for, but they went in and on the femur bone. Mm-hmm. They just laparoscopically sanded that down, and
like a femoral acetabulum instability,
something like that.
Okay,
right.
All right.
But it was very painful. I mean, to have it was very painful. And athletes get it a lot, right? Not that I'm saying I was a super athlete, but I was pretty athletic.
Basically like a hip dysplasia.
Yes, it's kind of like it's like a bone spur that then is always rubbing against your whatever. But that is not even my point. My point was that the surgery was so awesome that I wasn't supposed to walk I was supposed to use the crutches, right? Mm-hmm. And I had absolutely no pain. And my doctor said that's not a good thing. Yeah. Because without the pain after the surgery, and I found myself I was on the phone with a client and I'm walking across the living room and I went, oh, I'm not supposed to be walking. Because I didn't have any pain. And to your point, pain is a necessary.
Right.
It's necessary.
I tell patients all the time, pain is a gift. It's something, it's something that, that tells you when to stop or tells you that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And it also sends signals to the body that to heal. So if you're blocking that, then you don't know when to stop. You don't know when to, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you're kind of pushing through.
There's no gauge. There's no real gauge, right?
Exactly.
Right.
There's there's some of those anecdotes where, elite athletes are getting these steroid injections so they can continue to play for the next quarter or next whatever. You inject these, like say, if you're having pain secondary to a stress fracture, or something wrong with the bone, you keep playing, you're going to break right through it. And that's what can happen because you don't feel it doesn't hurt.
Well, what happened? Why do they
tell you when to stop?
Okay, so when the guys are on the court and they're playing basketball And they spray that stuff on their they spray that icy hot.
That's an ethyl chloride. That's an ethyl chloride. That just right. That's more superficial. It's not getting, but yeah, that just feels good on top.
It just feels good on top. Okay, but then they go back out and they play, but then that's probably in the long term not a good thing.
Right. That's just kind of finish out the quarter
and collect your paycheck.
Right.
So, well, here's a couple of things that I really loved about what you said. We were on a phone call with a bunch of other ladies, and you were explaining who you were. And I've been in the course of my career, I've had a kid that was obsessed with playing sports. I played sports, not that so much that I played sports. I played a lot of, I did gymnastics. I got shin splints. I have so many things wrong with my feet. You can't count them, which is, great topics to start conversations on with you, because I think I had these surgeries on my pinky toes at one point, because my ex-husband could not stand finding one more corn pad lay around my house. Okay. And so I had those surgeries, and it took away the need for a corn pad. But that, I think for some reason I got those corns because I was a bartender, and I was wearing these high heel, kind of like moccasin-y shoes, but they had heels. So they were really soft. And my foot was constantly, tell me if I'm wrong, but we can tell ladies that, why you get corns, because corns are so freaking painful.
Right.
But I think it was rubbing again and again and again and again and again in the same spot for so long. Is that what creates corns?
So yes, friction and pressure, absolutely. Corns and calluses, you heard those terms. They're just secondary to friction and pressure. So, it wasn't the fact that you were wearing a high heel. You could have worn a strappy sandal and nothing would have been rubbing on the edge of that pinky toe, and you wouldn't have got a corn. Does that make sense? It has to be rubbing against a surface, so it's going to be friction and pressure. You can get corns and calluses wearing flats. You can get corns and calluses wearing, sneakers, any type of shoe, as long as you're getting that friction, that excessive friction, and pressure. So it doesn't really matter if you're in a heel, a flat, a sneaker. So, it's kind of, you can't really put the heels in that umbrella. They cause every single foot problem.
Yeah, but do they cause foot problems? There you go. There's a simple question. Do heels cause foot problems?
Every shoe, sure. Every shoe can cause a foot problem. I have more patients wearing the ballet flats that come in with plantar fasciitis or tendonitis at the bottom of the heel. I can tell you that none of my patients who wear heels on a regular basis or wear, wedges or platforms on a regular basis have plantar fasciitis. No one has complained of that. Now, it depends on the foot type. The foot type, it depends on the shoe type. So it's not that heels cause bad feet or flats cause bad feet. Any type of shoe can cause bad feet.
Well, I think the point really is that if you wear the same shoe a lot, right? They say to switch it up, no?
Yes, you do want to switch your shoes, but the take home is really wear the right shoe for the right event. You picked that. You're not going to go, walk 10 miles in a theme park, in heels, and you're not going to, you know what I'm saying? So if you're wearing the right shoe, I had a patient who came to my office with heel pain, and she, they all say, oh, but I never wear heels. I'm like, okay, but yet you still have heel pain, which is funny to me because they say heels high heels cause pain, which, whatever, just depends on what activity you were doing. So we figured out that maybe about a couple days to a week prior, she had gone to the zoo, walked the entire zoo for hours with her kids, and she was wearing ballet flats. She's like, oh, I was wearing these comfortable flats. I'm like, yeah, but you walked probably about 10 miles, in these flats walking around. So the reason being because those ballet flats have no support. So ideally she should have worn a more supportive shoe during that time. So it could have been a sneaker, could have been a hiking boot. It could have been, a wedge sandal that was secured to her foot with the strap in the back. It just depends. It also depends on her foot type. And if she has excessive motion, like if she's pronating, if she's supinating, which means your feet turn in or your feet turn out. So there's more than one factor. You can't just judge it on the shoe. There are so many different types of feet and shoes that you have to kind of look at everyone specifically.
So, okay, so let's go and let's talk a little bit about I know when I see people's feet that turn in, my feet go like this, right? I walk like a duck.
Okay.
Okay, I don't talk like a duck, but I walk like a duck.
Okay.
But let's say I see people's feet that turn in. I always feel sorry for people that their feet turn out or their feet turn in too much. I saw a lady just the other day. I was downtown LA and she was standing there, and I noticed her knees and how she had shorts on, and her knees were like her legs were straight and her knees were super locked, like locked, right? And then kind of I felt as though they kind of like
they bent backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that a condition?
Well, the name of that is, it's a medical term called genu recurvatum. You know, I mean, that's just her body type. That's how she was made. So I mean, that's a specific, you know.
Does it cause problems? Does it cause problem with your feet or with your ankles to have?
Sure, absolutely. Any type of deformity or you know, congenital deformity you have with anywhere from your low back to your hips to your knees to your ankles, absolutely, it can change the way that you stand and you walk. It would absolutely affect that.
Can it be changed? Can that be? I'm always so curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it can be changed. You can look at two ways to change it. You're going to look at conservatively or surgically. So conservatively, you're looking at changes in the type of shoes,
like orthotics
or insert, like something that's custom made for her, bracing. You know, these are all, you know, sometimes physical therapy, depending on if it's a muscular contracture, you know, that's causing the problem, or a weak gluteal muscle, weak tendons and ligaments. All these things can contribute to the way that you stand and you walk. Absolutely. And then you look at the surgical side. So yes, there can be reconstructive surgery to straighten, things that are, deformed, angular deformities. You absolutely can do surgery, but then that is at the extreme, end of the spectrum, doing something reconstructive that you've had congenitally all your life. I've had patients come in that have had a limb length discrepancy or uneven legs, and, that they were born with. And the thing is, if you're not having pain, because a lot of times you'll see patients, that come, or parents bring in kids or teenagers, they see them grow and things are uneven, and the kid is not having a problem. A lot of times when you have these congenital deformities, when you're born with them, or as you grow, your body, adapts to it. You typically don't have pain. It's like when little kids have bunions. You see little kids with bunions. A lot of times they don't hurt, but the mom or the dad looks at them and they're like, "Oh my gosh, fix my kid's feet." A lot of times the kid doesn't even have any pain. It may look bad.
Okay, so I want to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you a couple of things since we're live, and I need to see what we can do here. Can you share on your Facebook page? Can you are you logged into Facebook?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to be a little unprofessional now because I don't see anybody watching, and I would love for you to go to my Facebook page and share it onto your Facebook page.
Okay.
Say
go to your
start a watch
page?
Party. Well, you have to go to my page to find it, right?
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, everybody watching on Instagram.
Yeah, give me. Yes. So you want me to go to you?
I think you go to my page, my C-Spot Talk page. You find the show live.
Yep. Okay.
And then down below, you see where it says share to a watch party, or that will notify people that you're on air live.
I don't see share to a watch party.
But... Okay, and then just share, and then share to whatever page you want to.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, it's just posting it, but
yeah, I'm gonna go to my Facebook
people,
page.
Do you know?
Sometimes I have so many people clogging up things, and then here, let me see. Share. I'm gonna share.
Wait, I gotta go get my give me 2 seconds, Wendi.
Okay.
Because I'm not plugged up and I don't want the computer to go. Excuse me.
Sorry, everybody watching. We are just I'm sharing this all over the place. Hold on. Because you can share it to groups. Okay, and now I'm going to share it. Let me see. I'm going to start a watch party and see if that, the program I says don't do that. Watch party. No, I better not do that. I'll do it later. I'll do a watch party later, everybody.
Okay.
I can do it after the show, and then people will chime in. I don't want to lose our feed or whatever it is that this program I use. But I shared it to another group of people over 50.
Awesome.
I hope it's not against the group. I hope it's not against the group rules. All these rules everywhere. There's rules. So anyway, okay. Now I can see. Oh, there. Like, I love that it's on a delay. Start watch party. Start watch party. I'm going to start a watch party, Vanessa.
Okay, go for it.
Here I go. Join our watch party, please. Okay, post. I might screw things up, but okay, good. This is awesome.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go. Okay.
Okay, so now what I do is I go invite, and I'm inviting all these people. Oh, wait. Okay, so my watch party is not going to work because you know what I'm hearing twice.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah.
I hear everything twice. See,
I can hear that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear two things. Oh, wait, I turned that off. Now, what about that? No, I can't hear anything. Okay. Never mind, everybody. Bye-bye. I'm back. Leave the watch party.
Right.
Okay, I'm back.
Right.
All right, let's carry on. I'll do a watch party after, and then I invite everybody, and then I chime in. It's cool. Okay, so what about... Okay, there's a few things I want to talk about. Aging feet, and aging feet, particularly in women. Aging ankles. Do our ankles age faster than our feet? What are some of the signs that our feet need to be taken care of better? Besides them getting crusty and disgusting. Like how do we know? Like, is there such thing as aging feet? Number one, that's it. Let's talk about that first.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. First question. Yes. Is there such thing as aging feet? The rest of you age. Yes, your feet will age too. So you're looking at anything from, decreased fat pad at the bottom of the feet. We lose fat where we need it and get it where we don't want it. So that's one thing that happens as we mature. I mean, decreased elasticity, to the skin. Changes in your nails, changes in your skin, changes in your joints. Sometimes people talk about, oh, my arches fell, and that's actually, kind of a thing. The ligaments and tendons that hold all those joints together, lose elasticity. So yes, your feet can get wider or bigger or flatter as you age. That is something. I mean, joints become arthritic. So yes, feet age, just like the rest of everything else.
Well, it kind of makes sense, obviously. Is there anything that we can do to stop that or to slow it down?
Yeah, you mean like Fountain of Youth?
Well, yeah, yes. I have a bottle of it. Anybody want to buy some?
You can stick your feet in it. Nope. Well, yes, you know what? you can slow progression of certain things. It's kind of like you can't stop aging process. You can't really turn back time, but you can kind of slow it a little bit. But you can take care of your feet. Put it like this. Sunscreen. That is one thing that almost no one puts sunscreen on their feet, right? We put it on our face, our décolleté, everywhere. But we don't put it on top of our feet, and that's exposed when we're wearing sandals, especially in, these warmer states, you can get you can get melanoma to your nails and to your skin, and people don't think about this.
Yeah, I remember when I had my pinky toe done, underneath my foot, on the bottom of my foot, underneath my toe, like where the underneath of your toe meets the ball of your foot right here. My doctor said to me, he goes, "You better watch that little black spot you got underneath there." And I said, "I have a black spot underneath there?" And he goes, "Yep, you got a little black spot right underneath here." Yep. And you know what? I would have never, ever, 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 ever seen that. It was just like a little freckle, but it was very dark.
Yet another reason to go see your foot doctor.
Yeah, because how many times, I mean, I went through chemotherapy a few years ago, like 15 years ago. And if anybody's been through chemotherapy, or I think it's very different, the neuropathy that you get when you're diabetic. It's neuropathy, but I think it's a little bit different because neuropathy comes from the toxic shock to the nerves of the peripherals of the fingers and the feet. And I mean, my neuropathy was extremely horrific. And my dad now has it because he's a diabetic. He's borderline diabetic, but he has terrible neuropathy. But it's 15 years later, Vanessa, and I still have the neuropathy in my feet from the chemo. Right. And it's not nearly as bad as it was. Yeah. But I couldn't wear, I've often said, I have no idea. There's a couple of things in this world that people need to pay attention to when you're a cancer survivor. One is somebody needs to come up with decent shoes that people can wear after chemotherapy due to the neuropathy that people have in their feet. They need to be stylish. They need to be soft. They need to, I would wear Terran Rose back in the day before it became whatever. But that I think would be a huge moneymaker if somebody can come up with a stylish, nice Lana shoes for people who have neuropathy in their feet.
So we need some neuropathy. Well, you know what we do for neuropathy, a lot of times our patients are diabetic patients with neuropathy, or even if they have what we call like idiopathic neuropathy or alcohol-induced neuropathy or drug-induced or chemo-induced, just like you had. A lot of times what we'll do is we can make custom accommodative inserts for their shoes.
I can't even wear a pair of socks.
Not cute enough? You want a cute neuropathic?
No, not cute. It's not that it's not cute. Until you have neuropathy in your feet, you have no idea. I cannot wear a sock. I cannot. Right, you can't put anything on. Right. This is 15 years later. I cannot put a nylon, like a stocking.
Yeah.
Anything like that. All of my shoes, the
chemotherapy-induced neuropathy is definitely a different complaint, a different sensation than diabetic neuropathy.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. You still have the same symptoms where, it feels like, the pins, the needles, the burning, feels like you're walking on rocks, feels like you have a sock on, you don't have socks on, there's all the same sensations. Those are neuropathic sensations. Absolutely. They are what we call paresthesias or anesthesias. But, I feel like the patients who have it secondary to chemotherapy, it's definitely a different experience. Now, I've also, it does seem to dissipate over time, as opposed to diabetics. Diabetics, when it gets worse over time, it does not. I have not seen it improve. Of course, you can slow the progression with improved blood sugars, that type of thing. But it's definitely a different. It's different hearing and different history from my patients who have suffered from it secondary to chemotherapy.
Because
they did the same thing like you have, like it's getting better. Like over time, it gets a little.
Mine got a lot better over time, but it's 15 years. It took about 9 years before I could go barefoot.
Yeah,
right? Without it, because you feel like it's ice cold. Everything is ice cold. Everything's opposite. It's like opposite day all the time with your feet,
right?
And then it's like I have sand in my shoes all the time. Yeah. Like clumps of sand in my shoes all the time. I've learned to live with it, and it doesn't bother me that much.
What have you found that helps it? What improves it for you? What did you find?
Nothing other than finding the right pair of shoes. Like there can't be any seams in my shoes. I can't wear anything between the shoe and me. I can't wear so working out was a really difficult thing for me because you can't jump.
Okay.
right? You can't jump. You can't do, if somebody says, do a squat and jump, it's like, are you crazy? I'm not going to do that. My ankles will burst, right? And number two, I don't have any like balance because I can't feel anything. And, but spinning was my go-to thing for 9 years. I spun all the time. And why? And this is some good advice you might want to take away with you, is from a patient, is that the hard sole of a spinning shoe is that's the only shoe I wear a sock. And because of the hard sole and clipping into the spinning bike, I am literally able to spin well without my feet bothering me. Unlike doing,
you don't have to worry about proprioceptive feedback, so you don't have to worry about feeling that. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That or swimming. So
even swimming, putting your feet in
like
water.
the water. It was too cold. Yeah.
It's too weird.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can imagine what it feels like. It's like your feet have a mind of their own.
I can tell you that I've had, it's really, so when you increase the blood flow, in the area, increase the blood flow to the nerve beds, I mean, that can improve it. I've used acoustic wave therapy on patients with diabetic neuropathy, and they've noticed an improvement in their symptoms. I had a patient that underwent what I call EPAT, or extracorporeal pulse acoustic wave technology, that I do here, and that's part of my regenerative medicine therapies. And we did about 6 sessions with him. He couldn't wear, socks. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that, and we did that. He was like, I can wear socks again. I can walk without feeling like I'm walking on rocks again. So it's really, improving the blood flow to the area does make a huge difference. Before that, they used to do, you've heard of stem or muscle stem. Yeah. So same thing. They would put, little stem pads, on your legs, and the muscular contractions, basically, pumping blood flow to the nerve bed, to the area, is what improved those symptoms. They used to call it a microvascular stimulation, microvas.
Well, okay, so that's all great information, but for somebody who's got neuropathy, nothing's ever going to help me. So I just kind of move on with the day.
Science still can, and even regardless of the nature of your neuropathy, medical science still, we throw basically a couple different medications at you. The gold standards neurotic. It makes you a zombie. Lyrica, SS.
Lyrica. Lyrica was like, Lyrica, do you have a moment to gain 12 pounds overnight?
Oh no, yeah.
Seriously.
Or SSRIs. There's a lot of different, medications, but they're not designed to improve the neuropathy. They're just designed to
psych your brain out. Right?
Or make you sleep through the pain. You really, So.
Yeah. It's not that. They're kind of, they tried all of those things with me, but I just decided not to do anything, and this kind of bit the bullet. And I've been biting the bullet. But okay, so you do Botox in feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's not something that's new. Actually, Botox for hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweating, has been done for years. It's been done in the armpits and the hands. It's a neurotoxin. So yeah, it's actually nothing that's novel. It's not like I'm doing Botox for wrinkly feet. It's just for sweaty feet.
Well, you know what? Sweaty feet equals stinky feet. So
well, not necessarily. So there's a difference. You can't have excessively sweaty feet, but stinky feet is actually a totally different diagnosis. And if it smells, then it's the bacterial component to it. So there's a difference. Yeah, you can totally just sweat and it not have a smell to it.
Okay, wait a minute. So are you? This is great. So are you saying people?
If you want to know the medical term, so you have hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweating, and then you have bromhidrosis, which is excessive smelly feet. So it's two different things.
Okay.
So if it does have an odor to it, then you obviously have to address the bacterial component to why it smells. Bacteria stinks. I mean, it makes things stink. If you have, sometimes you can sweat armpits and it just be wet, but not have, a bad odor, or BO, if you will, body odor to it. So there's a difference.
Okay. I always thought my stinky feet, because everyone watching, or who will eventually watch, when you can't wear socks or anything like that with your shoes, your feet sweat inside your shoes, and then you have stinky feet because the
what?
sock
It
is a
also depends on the
barrier.
insole. Are you wearing a type of insole? There's a lot of different types of.
I can't wear an insole, honey. That's
You
what I'm
haven't.
telling you.
You.
There's no way I can wear an insole.
No. I'm not saying wearing insole. I'm saying the type of insole that's in the shoe. Like, is it like a Naga hide? That's what I'm saying. Like, is it like a Birkenstock? Birkenstocks can, so some things hold odor.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So sometimes if the shoe smells, it may be
it doesn't fit.
Material, that's it.
If the shoe smells, don't wear it.
Exactly. There you go.
Sorry, I wanted to do it. If a shoe smells, doesn't fit, but that doesn't, with the glove and the shoe. And then,
it must have quit. That's
whatever it was. Oh God. Sometimes my son, who was 28 the other day, it was so funny. We went down to the Broad Museum and I was trying to explain something to him, this older lady was like getting on the elevator, and she was so funny because it was like these two older ladies, and they were trying to get in the elevator, but they go, no, it's going up. Wait, it's going down. No, it's going here. It's going over there. And they were like so funny. And they go, oh, we're like Laurel and Hardy, like that. And my son looked at me and I went, oh, that was kind of funny that she said that. And he goes, who's Laurel and Hardy? And I thought, the tall, skinny guy and the short guy. And he said, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. So that was kind of cute. So is there anything that, what is it that is so critical to, you're very much into fitness. What is the most critical thing that we need to understand about our ankle and our feet and about our fitness regimens? Is there things that we do wrong that are blatantly wrong, or are there any tips that you can give people to make sure that they're taking care of that part of their body, without, because I think it's kind of like the last things we think about. My shoes look good. I'm looking good. I'm going to the gym. I got my favorite shoes on, right? But yet, are they
to the gym or to working out?
Right. So there's running and the running shoe, and then there's cross training, and then there's are different shoes necessary for different?
Exactly. You answered it. Yes. Wear the right shoe for the right activity. Absolutely. I find that, for running, if you're running pavement, if you're running, trails, get a trail running shoe, get a cross trainer. Absolutely. I just did a segment on here in Houston, our local news station, about wearing the proper shoes for cycling. If you're going to go to spin class, don't wear these flexible shoes. I tell my patients all the time, if you can bend the shoe, it's not for you. And, don't wear a flexible shoe cycling, because you're going to put pressure on the ball of the foot, and that's going to increase your chances of getting hot foot, a neuroma, neuritis, all these different things can happen. So it's wearing the right shoe for the right event. Absolutely.
For me, that's crazy, because it's like the right shoe for the right event. So if you're an active person, then that means you have to have a lot of different shoes.
And of course, absolutely. You should have a lot of different types of shoes depending on what type of activity you're doing. You absolutely should. Yes.
Okay.
It's not wrong to say.
So what is there? I know because I'm so used to cycling, indoor cycling, and clipping in, and pulling up and lifting down, doing it the proper way, right?
Good. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it's not wrong to have a flat pedal system. If you're not, because you have your clipped in. Plus, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not wrong to have a flat pedal system as long as you're going to have stiff soled shoes. So there's a difference. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's probably why they're stiff soled shoes, spinning shoes.
Yeah,
like the spinning shoes. Okay,
cycling shoes are they're like not plastic, but they're very. You feel the bottom of the sole of it. You cannot bend that shoe.
You can't bend the shoe. The shoe, and that's why it's really great for me. For some reason, I don't feel the pressure. It's like my feet don't fall asleep. I don't have the pain. I have this hard bottom, which people would think that is weird that you like that, but it's like. No, it's the only way I can work out.
Well, the same concept with inserts. A lot of times you see these over-the-counter inserts. These gel-in insoles, these Dr. Scholl, machines in Walmart or whatnot, standing on it, And then I present them, I show them what a custom one made of, graphite, feels like. You can't bend it. And they say, oh, that's so hard. And I'm like, look, you're whatever, 100 and whatever plus pounds, you think this little gelatin insole is going to give you support. You need support. And, a durable insert is what's going to create that. And you're going to realize that feels a lot better. You got to support, all of your body weight. And of course, when you're walking, when you're running, that's increased, twofold. So you need something that's going to support that excessive, pounds per pressure, as opposed to the stuff that you buy over the counter. It's like standing on couch cushions. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's like everybody thinks that the softer it is that the thing you walk on, the better. And isn't that like sometimes like you get a backache if you're on carpet too long, right?
Yeah.
And people just, it's like, I don't think so. It's funny because I come from the direct response world, the infomercial world. And years ago, there was a product called orthotics, and it sold millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of them.
Because millions of people have foot pain. Yeah.
For $19.99, you can get the orthotic that you put in your shoe, and it's going to change your life forever and solve all of your problems, right? Well, I know for a fact that those things were made for $1.50 in China, shipped over here, and then sold for $19.99. And then millions of people believed the infomercial that basically claimed, just get these home, put them in your shoe, and your whole life is going to change. What do you say about things like that are out there being sold? I think you just said it, but
you can't control all of that. There's foot care products, from bunions to fungal infections to everything, is $1 billion industry. Everyone thinks that they have the solution, but yet everyone always ends up in our offices because there's not the solution, the quick fix. The quick little strap this bunion, it'll get fixed. All the fungal medications that are over the counter, the inserts, the Good Feet store, all these different places. You can't substitute medical knowledge of how to correct, a deformity or correct, biomechanics, which is what we spend years learning. So all these, over the counter, $2, inserts is not, going to fix, this overpronation or that I can correct. And so that's where it comes, that's the difference between, the dollar store and Dr. Barrow. It's not one of the same.
Right. So what about what if there was an orthotic that you could actually like adjust it to your perfect need?
There is. It's called custom insert, custom orthotics, and we do that. That's what foot and ankle specialists do. Or podorthus. Podorthus is someone who actually does that same thing.
That a customer can do it, like at home, like they get an orthotic and then they are able to manually adjust it themselves.
You know what? They have some. I have seen some where they can like pop out little inserts here, there, and that. I don't know. I don't know that there. I mean, there may be some on the market, absolutely.
Because there's so many different people.
Are. Some people do get relief. I'm not going to deny that. It's trial and error with everything. Absolutely. You can't say that. You can't say absolute. It's absolute that this is going to work for you. Even your own 2 feet may be different. There's no 2 feet alike, like snowflakes. So, you don't know what's going to work for somebody. I've had patients buy stuff over the counter and they were like, great. It feels great, but you never know. It's trial and error, just like with shoes, just like with heels, not every heel is going to hurt you. There's going to be a pair out there that you feel amazing in, so it's just trial and error.
I think there's a lot of pairs in my closet that I wish I felt amazing in. That they felt amazing when I was in the shoe store, but then they didn't feel amazing after I wore them for 30 minutes. Okay, excuse me. So if there was 3 things that you could tell people, like, because my audience is usually people over 50, right?
Yes.
If there were, let's just say if there was 2 things, because that makes it easier on you. If there was 2 things that you could tell people that they definitely should do as they move through this last quadrant or
the last stage of life? Is that what? No, just
I hate to say it, but I have to. I mean, it's like it's at a certain point in life, you got to say, okay, it's like the last quadrant, all right? Yeah, like what are the things to be aware of? Like, really, should you have foot massages? Should you really take care of your feet as far as
never turn down a foot
pedicures?
massage ever.
I'm a Pisces, so my feet are very delicate.
Yay, Pisces.
Are you Pisces too?
My Pisces
yay.
sister, yes.
No wonder. But there are people that are freaking obsessed with, the pedicure thing. And
okay.
I'm just not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm not.
I'm not either. I don't. I have probably gotten less than 10 in my entire lifetime.
Oh God, thank you.
Well, but from a personal standpoint, it's, even, and I'll get into the dangers of getting pedicures, in certain areas, or what to look for. But personally, I can't sit. I don't relax in nail salons. I can't sit that long. I'm too type A. That's me personally. I don't like it. But I know a lot of people love it and they relax and it's their girl time or guy time or spa time or whatever. But that's what they like. But as far as nail salons, so there are dangers lurking in nail salons and, anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just cracking up because it's like, I think exactly the same way. It's like, who cares? It's sweet, man. It's like, it looks cute, but don't touch my feet.
I like naked nails. I cut them. They're great.
Me too. Same thing.
Exactly. But that's, to each his own. So, some people do frequent nail salons all the time. They love it. They experience and the color and everything else. Now, there should be, there's a lot of concerns about nail salons. I mean, can you, get fungal infections? Can you get bacterial infections? Absolutely. These things can happen if the nail technician doesn't know what they're doing, if you have a medical condition that you didn't disclose, if someone else had a medical condition or if someone else had bacteria or fungus, it absolutely can be transmitted, in nail salons if they're not following proper technique, sterilization, there's a lot of things that people should be aware of. I've gone into nail salons and seen like at least 10 people have nail fungus sitting next to me. They may or may not know they have it, but you know what? It's not always, it's not as communicable as if I cut my fungal nail and then I cut your good nail, all of a sudden you have fungus. A lot of times it's secondary to the technique, and what the nail technician is doing. If they're, digging up under that nail and, it's a lot of times people, anybody will go to nail salons and say, oh, the technician fixed my ingrown. She didn't fix your ingrown. Yeah.
She made it worse, actually.
Yeah.
The technician
end up in our offices.
Yeah, they love doing that. So, yeah, let me fix it for you.
They fix it. They don't. Right? No. They create it, make it work, or they may make it feel good for about a week or two, and guess what? You're back. It's a business. They know how to do.
Yeah. The thing that gets me, I've done plenty of commercials that are like have to do with nails and feet, right? It's weird. I just, the categories that I've worked in. Okay. So at one point I had to hire, look, I like to say what I want to say on my show. But anyway, at one point here in California, we have most nail salons are run by Vietnamese or owned by the Vietnamese. And this is what they love to do. And so this is what they do. So, but as Americans, we go into the salons, not saying they're not Americans, but then if they are, then they should be speaking English, because it really bugs us when we go into a nail salon and we sit down and we have no idea what you're saying to each other. And we think that you're like laughing at us or you're talking about our nails and our feet.
Don't worry about that.
This one commercial I did, I had to hire, it was for nails. And so I had to hire somebody. I had to hire a couple of manicurists to be on set. So the studio manager's wife owned a salon. And so she arrives with two of her gals, and they are Vietnamese, of course. And I become friends with her. We're get friendly and blah, blah. And I had to ask her. I said, why is it that you all have nail salons, right? And she told me, she said, it is just, and then I admired it after that. I understood it after that. But it's what they do. Like every 3 days in Vietnam, the women will go to the salon.
Interesting.
and they go and they have their feet and their hands taken care of. It
Really?
is completely embedded in their daily culture.
I did not know that.
And
No.
that's why they come here. It is what they love. It is what they know. It's not they just do it because they can. It is they do it because
It's cultural.
Absolutely part of their culture, and it's what they love to do. And I thought that was so amazing. Then my second question to her was, well, what are you guys talking about? Because you're always like saying stuff. And we all just want to know what you're talking about. And she laughed because she thought it was funny. And it was funny because I still, to this day, I'm sitting there and I just want to go, what did you just say? Do my feet smell?
They're not talking about you. I promise you.
But anyway, I'm glad I found a kindred spirit in not hanging out at nail salons so much. Thank you very much.
But one thing I wanted to add was, a lot of people are worried about, in a lot of nail salons, they cut cuticles. They shouldn't be cutting cuticles. That like serves as a gasket. It's protection. It's a reason it's supposed to be there. You cut cuticles, you can get bacterial infections. They should be gently pushing them back, gently, so that these are things that, it's important to know when you're getting this done. There are some specialized, med spas who may provide medical pedicures to patients who are diabetic or who have compromised circulation or compromised, sensation. And those are good because you want to make sure that those technicians are medically trained to give a proper, pedicure to someone who's compromised so they don't lead to any infections, don't lead to any problems, any, potential wounds or surgeries or amputations, because these things have happened. It's not fair to just tell every diabetic patient, nope, can't get pedicures ever again in life. You have to know exactly, what to do with those type of patients. It's not fair to know that you're neuropathic like yourself or diabetic or have poor circulation, that you can never feel pretty. If that's what people go to the salon for, to feel pretty, then, let's find a way, medically that we can do that.
Yeah, I think that it's beautiful. I mean, I love when, my feet look nice and have pretty nails.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's just not something that, it's just not my thing. That's all. I'll do it, but it's just not my thing.
Right. But for some patients, it is their thing. And, and that's something that, it could be a self-esteem thing. There's reasons why, men or women will go get this done, get their hair done every week, get their nails done. If it makes you feel better about yourself, great. Just because you're diabetic or you have HIV, it doesn't mean you can't ever have these things again that make you feel better. Right. So, there's definitely needs to be, there are few and far between, I might add. There's not a lot of these med spas. There's a lot of med spas, but there's not a lot of, medically, concentrated, pedicure type spas. So these are things that, that are slowly, gaining ground, popping up, where you have these trained technicians that are trained in, medically trained to give these proper pedicures to compromised patients.
What's interesting is every time I have a manicure, you mentioned the cuticle thing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I don't have manicures is because the more manicures I have, if I have a manicure, then my cuticles peel. They peel. Like, they get those little skin things.
Yeah, it might be the solution that they're using. It might be,
I think it's they cut them, right? So they go in and then they start to cut them. But if I never have a manicure,
you're fine.
I never have the problem. Yeah. I don't have that problem. Yeah. So I noticed that would happen, and I really didn't like that. So I just don't do it. But anyway, enough with that subject. Okay, moving on. You have anything good coming up? What's happening with you? Do you have any specials? You want people to come in to see you in Houston? What's your thing?
Well, I think one of the, what I pride myself on is, again, being one of the only foot doctors here, foot and ankle specialists that offer some of the things that I offer. Again, the regenerative medicine, the PRP injections, the placental tissue matrix. This is stuff that is beneficial for chronic tendonitis, chronic arthritis. When those patients who don't want to, resort to, the steroids and the anti-inflammatories, at least they have other options. Unfortunately, there are, a lot of these are not covered by insurance. So you would have to use an HSA. Well, it's not, the insurance sometimes deem that insurance will pay for you to get your leg amputated before they pay for anything to prevent it. I'll tell you that. So
isn't that crazy?
what are you going to do?
You know what? I don't think it's eventually
it's changing. I will say that, there are, put it like this, before Botox wasn't covered, Botox is covered now for certain things. So it just takes time. A lot of times, it's deemed experimental before it has to be done for years, but it's money. It's the business model.
Well, I think here's what sucks. Okay. If we're going to talk about that just for
that's a whole nother soapbox. Wait.
But they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They're charging like, I had a CT scan and they charged. I have Kaiser here in California, which is an HMO, and they charged Kaiser charged because it's supplemented by the government. Everything's supplemented by the government these days, right? Everything is.
Oh, I forgot you in California. Yeah, Kaiser.
$7,000 for a CT scan. That's what was on the bill. $7,000. Now, if I wanted to go pay for that myself at a private place to just go have a CT scan,
be less. Yeah.
It probably would be about $500.
Yeah. Well, we bill out, you can, it shows that on the bill. You can see astronomical things billed out
right.
because as doctors or whoever, we obviously want to get reimbursed. I can bill out, $10,000 for surgery. Guess what? Insurance doesn't mean anything. Insurance is going to pay me $250 for it. People don't realize what some of these, even, private practitioners make. I've gotten checks for $25 for 10 cents. I've shown a picture. I've got reimbursed from Medicare for 10 cents. I think people do not realize what doctors make. And so that's the thing.
That is a whole nother can of worms, but that's really fascinating.
It is fascinating. People don't realize, and that's why you saw, such an increase in Medicare fraud and Medicaid fraud over the past, 10 years because of that. So, because
the government has just decided
at an all-time low. So that has changed the patient care model. When you're going into some of these ACOs, these accredited care organizations, you may have 10 minutes with a doctor, 5 minutes with a doctor, and the patients are, mad at the doctor, but that's just how the system works. I worked for an ACO before. I had 40 patients booked, two every 10 minutes. You walk in, you see that patient, and that's kind of how it is. It's like a revolving door. That's not how I wanted to deliver medicine to patients, not how I wanted to practice medicine, which is why I wanted to go back into private practice, because I like to actually know if my patient got better and if they can come back and I know them and I become their family podiatrist and they recommend everybody to come see me and it becomes a relationship. You want your patient to succeed and to get better, obviously. But in some of these, ACOs and some of these, large healthcare systems, it's a different patient, doctor model in which, you don't get that same care. I'm not saying it's a high level, low. It's different.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for me personally. That's why I found myself back in private practice, because I was able to deliver a different type of medicine to my patients. And I was able to do stuff outside the box. If I wanted to do something experimental, I was able to do that. You cannot do that in some of these healthcare systems. You're not allowed to. They don't have the funding for that. They don't have the money, or it's not cost effective, because their picture is it's a business. The business model works. When you're in private practice, it's a little bit different.
You get to follow your own model, or you get to create your own model.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So that's the type of medicine I wanted to, everything is different for different people, but that's why I find myself back in private practice. But back to you asking some of the other things that I offer, again, from the regenerative medicine side, I'm able to do for patients, and not have them, do regenerative medicine therapies where they don't have to take off work, no downtime, no anti-inflammatories, no steroids, I treat patients who are in the corporate world where they don't have time, to sit and go to physical therapy. Physical therapy is great. Don't get me wrong, but there are other options out there. And so I'm able to provide that for, some of these patients that have more of a demanding lifestyle, especially the patients who have an active lifestyle and they're competitive. They may be an amateur athlete. They don't have time to be put in a boot for 6 to 8 weeks. They need other options. And on the aesthetic medicine side, so I do dermal filler to the feet. You've heard of hyaluronic acid, or you plump your lips and your face and your hands and wrestling. So we can do that, to the bottom of the feet, into areas of the feet where you're devoid of that fat pad that gives you cushion. So you add a little bit more fat. It's not permanent, just like it's not permanent anywhere else. You do have to get,
can you feel that when somebody does that? Do they feel that? I mean, because you're talking to somebody with neuropathy, so I feel everything, right?
You're saying if they lose fat? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When you lose, it's almost the same sensation. They get that burning. You can feel like you're walking on bone when you have that fat pad atrophy. Absolutely. Same thing.
So when you're
walking on a pebble or walking on a rock, and I keep pointing to my hand. So say if that's like you know what? Hold on. So like if the bottom of the foot, like say this is your foot, you see that? Yeah. Okay. So I'm talking about the ball here, and then maybe walking, and it feels like they have no cushion. Like, hold on. Sorry.
Here, let me put you full screen and I'll get rid of me. Okay. And I'll get rid of this. All right. Okay. Now you've got full screen.
Okay. So again, so we're looking at the foot here, and I'm talking about like the ball of the foot. I don't know if can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so a lot of times we call that, fat pad. This is where, we have a huge fat pad here and at the bottom of the heel. And so as we mature, we lose that fat. We can have fat pad atrophy. A lot of times it is more significant in women because it's secondary to hormonal changes. Our fat deposits distribute differently than men, just like how most men do not have cellulite. Women have cellulite because of the way our skin is, the connective tissue is different. So we are built differently. So anyway, you have this fat pad atrophy, and it feels like almost like your neuropathy, where it feels like you're walking on a rock or a pebble. Yeah. So we inject hyaluronic acid or collagen to the bottom of that, to that area devoid of fat. And then it feels like cushion. It feels like a pillow. It feels soft again, squishy almost. And that lasts for anywhere up to 6 months to a year, depending on the patient, depending on their activity.
Is there for someone who gets that in their face?
Yeah.
Is it similar, like in amounts? Like, do you have to put a lot of it in? You know how
it depends. It depends on how much they're
on the person.
Yeah, absolutely. So like if you're it's more than, if you're getting a spot treatment, it's a spot, SPOT, spot treatment. It's like 1 cc or almost 2 cc. So it just depends. You're not getting a ton. You're not filling up a huge volume. Yeah. And the same thing in the lips. You're getting like 1 cc. You're not getting a ton. But again, what's different is that when you're in this area, you're putting pressure. You're walking on it. So sometimes you may need a little bit more, or you may need it more frequently than in the face and the lips. Okay. But I've injected a patient. He was pro athlete. He had a surgery for like a bone spur, and they took a little bit too much bone, too much fat. So he's young, 45, and he said, I can't even walk barefoot anymore because I keep getting this callus. I have no fat here anymore from surgery. And he's like, I'm 45. I'm gonna come in here and have a callus shaved and wear pads for the rest of my life. I don't want to do that. He's wearing a callus pad. It's like, I'm too young for this. So he was a perfect candidate. We injected hyaluronic acid right underneath that painful area, changed his life. He's running again. He's like, I can walk up the stairs barefoot. You have no idea how good that feels. So okay. That's a difference.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned the callus thing.
Okay.
Because there's lots of people out there, and 5 more minutes and then I'll let you go because I know you want to go home. Listen, the callus thing.
Okay.
People have a tendency to get those things from the store and get rid of their calluses, right? Yeah. Or get rid of, and then or my husband does it. He scrapes off with that razor blade thing, off the skin. Yeah. And I said, I don't think you're supposed to do that. I said, I really don't think you're supposed to do that, because the more you do it, the more they come back.
Well, no, it's not like shaving when you when you tell you to shave the first time. Like if you shave your legs, you're gonna have to do it for the rest of your life. You know, your little girl. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I do. But I'm not thinking about the legs.
So calluses again, just like you talked about, corns are products of friction and pressure. So gently using a pumice stone, those are fine. I mean, callus care is something you're going to have to do on a regular basis. It's going to come back. I have patients all the time that say, "Oh, I shaved it and it came back." I'm like, "Well, are you still walking? You stop walking, your calluses will go away." It's friction and pressure. So regular callus care on a regular basis will actually keep that soft, and do gentle, abrasion with a pumice stone or a foot file, because a lot of times what happens, they try to shave it all off at one time and you're doing bathroom surgery with a blade.
Yeah,
you cut yourself or whatever. No, you can also use a keratolytic. What a keratolytic is break the word down. Keratin, lytic means break down. Keratin means skin. So you're breaking down that thick keratin layer. And that's something that usually has like urea in it or alpha hydroxy. This type of stuff breaks down that you've heard of those terms before, urea or alpha hydroxy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So that breaks down that thick keratin layer. If you do foot care, self-care, callus care on a regular basis, then you're not going to be sitting in the bathroom shaving off, looking like grating cheese at the end of the night. So,
or just be like me. I never do anything. I just don't do anything. And I always wear shoes on my feet. So my feet are always soft and nice, and they don't
really, like a baby's butt.
Yeah, my feet are nice. I mean, it's because I don't walk around barefoot and I don't walk outside barefoot, and I haven't for years because I can't. Right.
Oh, so yeah.
I just have nice, maybe that's why I don't go to the pedicure place. It's because my feet are fine. They just feel weird. Okay. Right. So I want to thank you for you are just a wealth of information.
Oh,
you realize that, right?
Keep talking.
And what's really funny is I'm watching Vanessa, and Vanessa is she's also on her Instagram live. And so it's like I'm watching you.
I know, you're watching
like waving to people. I
know.
And I'm going, I feel so left out. Well, I'm glad that you have people chiming in over there, because this is actually so interesting. I think something is awry here, because this is I see it on the Facebook Live. But anyway, I'm going to do a watch party after this, and I will answer everybody's questions for you if they chime in. But it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for spending the time. I know that it's late there. And it looks like you have beautiful offices because I see it in the background.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So if anyone has any questions about anything, please, you can post them on Facebook. But I'm going to stick around. And Vanessa, I'm going to let you go because you're just awesome. And I love that you took the time to be on the show and to talk about it.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to come on again.
Oh, I just have a real quick question for you. Are you using that? Did you buy one?
I didn't. No, but I got to get one from Kathy.
Oh my God, you have to. You have to.
She looks gorgeous with it.
I use it every day. I use it twice a day. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I mean, it's just that's why my skin shines.
I know. No, you guys all look amazing. You guys look amazing.
You're missing out on one of the world's greatest. It's the #1 product in the world, a beauty device. You are missing out if you just don't try it.
Okay, you sold
seriously.
You're right.
I'm not just trying to sell you something. I'm trying to I got in this argument with my
spa for my whole body.
You only need a Lumen spa for your face. It'll take too long to do your whole body.
I need my body to shine.
Your body shines enough, honey. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
So that was Vanessa Barrow. She's awesome. She's awesome because she knows so much about feet. Well, she's a foot doctor. So what are you going to do? Anyway, I think I'm going to make this into a launch party because there's a lot of great information, but I think that I'm not doing this Facebook sharing thing the right way. So let's see. It is 6:04 here in beautiful downtown El Segundo, California. And do I have anything else to talk about? Oh, yeah, I do. Actually, look, here's a book I just got. Look, this book is called, I don't know, people always kind of do this weird thing when they, okay, well, I think you guys are going to see it backwards, but it's called The Cultural Creatives. And check it out. It's like a freaking textbook. But I bought it because Carol, who chimed in last week when I was interviewing Ben Winkler, the photographer of Faces of Silver, which was just an awesome show. She said that we are actually people in our age group. Oh, by the way, this title, the says how 50 million people are changing the world. Okay, this is our demographic, the people who are between 55 and 65. This is us, cultural creatives. Now, C-Spot Run Productions, which has been my company for 28 years. People always say, what's the C stand for? I would tell people that it stands for the most powerful word in letter in the alphabet. So when you think of everything that starts with the C. And then I told Carol that, and then Carol said, cultural creatives. And she pointed out that that's who we are. So I'm reading this book. It is by Paul H. Ray, PhD, and Sherry Ruth Anderson, PhD. Essential reading for understanding the converging forces for profound social change in the coming decades. I mean, if you can look up, I think on Wikipedia, let's see, I'll read the back of the book to you. Are you a cultural creative? I just love this. Anybody that knows me probably knows that I just love this to death. Do you dislike all the emphasis in modern culture on success and making it, on getting and spending, on wealth and luxury goods? Do you care deeply about the destruction of the environment and would paying higher taxes or higher prices to clean it up and stop global warming be acceptable to you? Are you unhappy with both the left and the right in politics? Excuse me. Hello. And want to find a new way that does not simply steer a middle course? In this landmark book, which I'm going to read, and we're going to do a show on it with Carol, sociologist Paul H. Ray and psychologist Sherry Ruth Anderson, sound like Trump, draw upon 13 years of a survey research studies on more than 100,000 Americans. They reveal who the cultural creatives are and the fascinating story of their emergence over the last generation, using vivid examples, engaging personal stories to describe their distinctive values and lifestyle. The cultural creatives offers a more hopeful future and prepares us all for the transition to a new, saner, and wiser culture. So thank you very much. This is who we are. And this is where I'm going to end tonight's show, because I think that's just freaking awesome. So anyway, until next time, be good, be kind, share this show, and make sure to take care of your feet. I'm serious. Take care of your feet and they'll take care of you. All right. And we'll see you next week or in a couple of days, whenever I feel like coming back. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. Oh, wait, hold on. You've been watching it's down here. It's the Wendi Cooper Show. Speaking of age, if you have a suggestion or you would like to be on the show, email me at wendicooper@mac.com. It's that easy. And you can find out more about me at wendicooper.com. Pretty cool that I have that URL, huh? Anyway, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Ciao. Be kind. See ya.